For everyone, there's a taste of food or a smell of cooking that zooms you right back to childhood.
It's just like my mum's cake.
I'm Brian Turner.
It reminds me of someone I used to know at school.
And I'm going to stir up the food memories of some much-loved celebrities.
Oh, look at that.
Going back to their early days before they were famous.
Oh, my gosh.
With recollections of Sunday roasts and school dinners.
It's time for something to eat.
Brilliant.
And celebrating food their home regions are proud of.
Which way would you like to go?
This way.
I'll recreate a nostalgic family favourite.
You can't beat a crumble.
And a tribute dish that puts my guest's life on a plate.
Magic. Magic.
Today, television presenter Diane Louise Jordan returns to her childhood home in Hertfordshire. There are surprises at her old school.
How are you?
Oh, I'm a bit shell-shocked.
And memories of the neighbourhood that meant so much to her family.
This area and that house, I'd say it saved our lives.
And I'll be cooking dishes for her with local produce.
This is it.
That'll be a real taste of childhood.
I'd like to share it with you, but I'm not going to. It's gorgeous.
Today, I'm in Hatfield, where I'm going to be finding out about the food memories of Diane Louise Jordan.
Which do you fancy? Which is your favourite?
All of them.
How did I know you'd say that?
Diane's best known today as a presenter of Songs of Praise. But back in 1990, she landed one of the best jobs in television when she became a Blue Peter presenter.
It's only 3 weeks to go before the clocks go back and the dark evenings start drawing in. And what does that mean? We'll all be switching on more lights around the house.
Today, I'm going to find out all about her food memories and use them as the inspiration for two special dishes I'm going to create just for her.
Well, my mouth's salivating already.
Diane was actually born in Hackney in East London in 1960. Her parents, Harold and Norma, had both travelled from Jamaica to London, where they met and married in 1956.
My mum, all her sisters, they came here for their training as nurses and midwives and things like that, and then they went back to Jamaica. So I think the plan for my mum was to go back. But she met my dad, and then I always go, "Oh, how romantic, you fell in love." She went, "No, we didn't fall in love. He just kept pestering me and I gave in." And I'm like, "I'm so glad you gave in, because, hey, I wouldn't be here."
Exactly.
Harold and Norma settled in Hackney, where they began raising their family in a one-bedroom flat. But in the 50s and 60s, London could be a very unfriendly place for new arrivals.
I do remember overridingly that it was a very cramped place, that we felt sort of a bit unwelcome. I remember being in the butcher shop with... I'm a vegetarian now. Oh, butcher shop. But I remember being in the butcher shop with my mum, and we'd have to wait at the back until everybody else was served, and then we got served. And at night, we used to... it was during that time when there was all those sort of riots happening in Notting Hill, and you know, it was quite tough. And so my mum and my dad, to keep us children safe, they'd put us on a mattress right under the window, because there were stories of stones coming through the homes of Caribbean people. So the stones would come through. If, say, a brick came through the window, it'd miss us.
Yeah.
So there was this sort of backdrop of anxiety. At night, we always taped up the letterbox as well, just to make sure nothing came through there. So the outside world felt quite scary.
Diane's dad was determined to find a better home for his family outside the capital and settled on Hatfield, 20 miles north of London. Hatfield was one of the many new towns that were built across the country after the Second World War. They offered modern homes, set in peaceful neighbourhoods, complete with all the facilities young families could want.
I can't work out what made me more happy. The happiness on my mum's face, the smile, I mean, it was like all the weight of the world had just left her. And I do remember that. I just remember my mum being happy, and obviously my dad was chuffed to pieces.
Diane spent her whole childhood in Hatfield. I want to find out what it was like growing up here and what part food played in her life when she was young.
So why are we actually in this particular shop? What does this mean to you?
Well, when I was younger, you know, when I started senior school, I was then allowed down the town because we used to live at the other end of the town.
Okay.
And it was only probably about 2 miles away, but it felt like another city. So to go down the town was a really big thing.
Grown up.
Yeah, especially on a Saturday morning. But we always used to pop into Simmons Bakery.
Right.
And buy a nice bun. But I used to have this thing of, if I bought something sweet, I felt I always had to have something, a piece of fruit. We hardly ever had sweet things when we were at home anyway.
Right.
Mostly to do with the fact that we couldn't afford it. So a nice bun was a treat, and it felt like it was more like a pudding. So I'd buy my little green, shiny apple, and me and my mates would sit on a wall just opposite the bakery, just through there, actually. And I'd munch my apple and have my nice bun.
The cafe we're in, a place that was so important to Diane as a child, is a bit of a Hertfordshire institution. It's part of a local chain which was founded here nearly 200 years ago. The current bakery has been on the same site since 1945. Back then, everything was done by hand. But now this bit of kit can turn out 8,000 rolls an hour. But the old skills aren't dying out just yet.
At the moment, I'm making multi-grain sour loaves, which we produce around 150 a day and 300 on a weekend. And then this is what the finished loaves looks like once it's been baked off. I think the old days we used to do it like this, but then there's not many people that can hand mould. Better than you, Paul Hollywood.
Without a doubt, the runaway favourite produced by this bakery is... the donut! Our donuts, sticky with sugar or icing, full of raspberry jam, or custard if you're a bit weird. I can't think of anyone who doesn't love a donut.
After a day of making them, it's not something I really want to eat.
OK then, I can't think of anyone who doesn't like them, apart from Paul here.
We're just waiting for the donuts to fry. They take 1 minute, 10 seconds each side. At the moment, they're very popular. We make 1 million donuts a year.
If you think that's a lot, in this country we get through 200 donuts, cakes and pastries each, every year. That adds up to an annual UK total of over 12 billion. So in thousands of bakeries up and down the country, we're all making memories of our favourites, just like Diane and her iced buns.
We sell about 900 a day. Other items, fashionable items come in and go, but ice buns are still very popular. Public still demand them.
Oh, at long last, here come the buns. Thank you.
Much,
That's fabulous. I want to eat one now. She's like, I can't even wait.
You go for it, dear lady.
That is heaven. That is heaven.
Does that
brings
remind you
back,
how it used to be?
that brings back so... It's sort of better. You know when you really love something and then you eat it again years later, it's a bit of a disappointment, isn't it? This is perfect.
Although the bakeries were full of lovely treats when Diane was a child, one thing was missing in Hatfield. None of the shops sold the ingredients Diane's mum needed for her home cooking.
So my mum, she's brilliant Caribbean cook. Really, all her food was delicious. Her English cooking was, she's not alive now, so I can say it, abysmal.
Oh, dear.
But she thought she was a great cook. I love you, Mum.
As they couldn't get the ingredients in Hatfield, Diane's mum and dad would make regular trips to the famous Ridley Road Market back in Hackney to stock up on essentials.
Do you know what? When my mum used to cook here,
Yeah.
I used to feel a little bit embarrassed. It's like, stop cooking that Jamaican food. We live in England now. I mean, I really like rice and peas, and that's about all she ended up doing in the end. And sometimes we'd have fried dumplings and, you know, our Sunday breakfasts were delicious, but they were a bit different. When I went to Jamaica and I realised everybody was doing that, so there was fried dumpling, boiled dumplings and soup, just like my mum did it. You could get fresh callaloo, you know, you could get mangoes off the tree in my granddad's garden.
Yeah.
It was just, it all opened up and I realised why my mum and my dad still really, because I was thinking, why do you go to so much effort to go to Wrigley Road? There's food in Hatfield. And then I started getting it.
It's just these sorts of memories that are going to inspire the dish I'll be making for Diane later.
So it's going to be a bit of a challenge for me. I've got to create something that reminds you of your childhood, that reminds you of the Caribbean, that we can purchase in this part of the world, that a vegetarian eats.
You know, I really feel sorry for you, but I don't know how you're going to do it.
We'll give it a go.
You know, back to my bun.
While I'm thinking about recipes, we're heading off to our next stop, Diane's first school. Back then, it was called Bishop Wood's Infants. It's now part of the de Havilland School.
Wow.
So what do you think, yeah?
It's actually, it's freaking me out a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, because it sort of feels familiar, but it's bigger.
Were these buildings here?
I'm not sure, because they look a bit new.
They look new, don't they?
Yeah. That bit there with the chimneys, that looks like where the kitchen was, which I think served both the primary school and the infant school.
So did you like school meals?
I love school dinners.
Really?
Yeah, I was one of those weird people. You know when you meet adults and they talk about their school dinners, they always give it a thumbs down, and I just didn't get that, because for me, school dinners were the best. I used to really look forward to coming into our little dining room, and we'd have tables with, I think, maybe 6 or 8 children around each table, and some of the people at the head of the table had to be the food monitor.
Yeah, I remember
That's right. And my favourite pudding, I used to love everything with custard, but my best, and this school was it's the only place where it's been done perfectly, is chocolate pudding and chocolate custard. And I don't know, all these this little warning to you, Brian, all these fancy restaurants and all these fancy chefs, they do chocolate pudding and chocolate custard, but they do chocolate sauce and they don't put enough on, and no, we want chocolate pudding, and I should start a campaign, shouldn't I?
Well, you'd be pleased to hear it in my thinking already that chocolate pudding and chocolate sauce do not exist.
No!
Sorry, you've had enough of that in your lifetime. Huh?
I really, you know what, I'm now going to be disappointed.
How many years since you've been in there?
Since 1964. That's a long time.
It is quite a while, you're quite right. I really hope you enjoyed it in there. It'll be a fantastic experience. Meanwhile, I'm going to nip over there and I'm going to try and find a dish to put together that sort of reflects your early days, the past, perhaps the Caribbean influence, food that you'll enjoy, but not chocolate pudding. You're going to enjoy that in there.
No chocolate pudding. How can you not have chocolate pudding? Oh my gosh. It's a really weird feeling. This is our school hall. And we used to come in here for assembly. It doubled up as a gym. I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly the same climbing frame and stuff that we had before. I'm actually shocked that I feel like crying. I'm so shocked that I feel like this. I'm really happy to be here. But I think it feels like your life is literally flashing by you. And my memory's not very good, and I'm shocked at how much I really did remember this room. And it just makes me feel really nostalgic for my childhood. It was a really nice childhood. We had I had a great experience here. I think all children should have at least the experience I had. We really felt cared for. Coming into assembly, which we had every day, I really believe that assembly is a great thing because it sort of settled you, no matter what you came from. It was a moment in the day where everyone could just be still for a while and sort of catch their breath before going off into their classrooms. And for me, that really helped, and I still like really quiet mornings now.
We've set up the kitchen in the playground, where I'm going to create a vegetarian dish inspired by Diane's memories of the Caribbean food her mum used to make.
First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make some fried dumpling batter. So, strong flour goes in there. I'm going to take about 4 grams, almost a teaspoon, of quick dried yeast, and then the water goes in. This wants to be like a soft dough, a stiff batter, and put it in a warmish region to just prove a little bit. It takes about 20 minutes, half an hour. It will depend on where you put it and the temperature. It's lovely and warm here today. It'll take some holding.
Next, I'm going to make a little vegetable stew. First, I need some chopped shallots, which I'm going to fry with some fresh corn.
Now I want a bit of colour in there. I've got this lovely green pepper. So that goes in there. Lovely colours already there. We want to sweat those off a little bit. Whilst we're doing that, I've got these tomatoes. I've taken the seeds out. I've kept the skin on. I'm going to put those into my stew in a moment, so they'll actually start to melt a little bit, give lovely flavour, lots of lovely colour.
My vegetable stew needs just a couple more ingredients.
OK, so I'm going to put some vegetable stock in there. I'd often use chicken stock personally, but we must remember Diane's a vegetarian, so a bit of vegetable stock in there. And a bit of double cream. Salt and pepper. And then the tomatoes go in there, and we just leave this to cook out.
Inside the school, Diane's still getting her bearings.
Ah, that leads through to the junior school. I've got to have a quick look. I'm sorry, I've just got to have a peep. Yeah, look. It's the same room, but bigger. Yeah, I remember this. Oh my gosh, I think I've just seen somebody I know. Oh, Julie.
How are you?
Oh, I'm a bit shell-shocked, to tell you the honest truth. I was trying to work out. We both went to this school, but you went to school with my brother, didn't you?
Yes, your
Roger.
brother. Yeah, Roger.
Yeah. So you're a couple of years younger.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really changed.
I know. When you come, there used to be a hatch here. There was infants this side and juniors that side. There was 2 dining rooms.
Right. Because that's why I got confused. Because
Yeah,
when I
they
came
changed
out
all
of the
this.
hall, so when we were in the infant school, were there steps coming up there or something?
They didn't have the lift.
Yeah.
They didn't. And this was the dining room. Oh,
Yes,
that was the dining room.
That's right. That's why I got completely
And there was wooden
confused.
steps. If you remember right, there was wooden steps that you went down into the hall.
Yes. That makes
very,
sense.
very different.
So, right, so this is where the infant's dining room would have been, all of this.
That's it, yeah.
OK. Now I get where we are in the school.
Yeah.
But, why are you here anyway? What do you do
I'm the
here?
cook. I've been the cook here 20 years. I just got my long service award.
Wow, you've been
20 years.
So you left and then came straight back?
No. I left. I worked.
Yeah.
When I had children, I come back here because I wanted a school job. So I'm the cook.
Well, I'm so glad you're here because
Yeah,
you've really
lovely to
helped
see
bring
you.
back these memories. Oh, Julia, listen, I'll let you go back to work and thank you
That's
so
okay.
much.
Find your classroom.
I am going off to find it
Up
now.
that way. Up through that door. Not that's caretaker's office. That one.
Oh yeah, and then I can go down.
Go round,
can I?
so, yeah,
All
that
right.
hasn't changed a lot.
All right.
Okay, then.
Okay. Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Outside, while my stew's cooking, I'm going to make a simple red pepper sauce, starting with an onion and a large red pepper, chopped finely and fried in butter.
I'm going to cook them really soft. I've got a little bit of dry sherry here. It just gives it different flavour. So what I really want to do, I'll make this quite spicy. So I've got some wonderful Tabasco sauce here. So we very carefully measure that, as little or as much as you like. Don't know what Diane wants, so we make it quite spicy. There we go. I've got my vegetable stock. Just put that in there. Just a tad of cream.
Yeah, this is my classroom, but they've changed it. Mrs. Wheatley would sit down here. She'd greet us at the door. She was so lovely. Sitting here, because it feels familiar, this is a nice feeling because I remember this bit. But where's the blackboard gone? You know, that was a real sign of my classroom. And I used to like watching Mrs. Wheatley. It's like all teachers had special handwriting that worked perfectly on blackboards. I felt really safe here, particularly in this classroom. Yeah, I adored Mrs. Wheatley. She's what teachers should be. She even looked like a teacher, you know, dark curly hair and brogue shoes and, you know, Aran cardigans and tweedy skirts. She was like a proper teacher. We're born with great creative imaginations, but to be in a place where you can really, that can be nurtured is so important. And so I am sitting here, it is a little bit different, but I am so grateful that this room existed because I just feel that I had a really great start in life.
The stew and the sauce are ready. It's nearly time to plate up my Caribbean feast. I made a simple but vibrant vegetable stew with corn, tomato and green pepper, cooked together with some vegetable stock and cream. And alongside it, I've made a quick red pepper sauce with just an onion, some garlic, a red pepper, stock, cream and a splash of sherry. I do hope this dish will bring back memories of childhood for Diane, especially once I've put on the finishing touches.
Hi, Brian.
Dear lady, how was that?
That was emotional, seriously. It was, I think I went through every gamut of emotion you can think of.
Did you cry?
No.
No, you don't have to say it. I thought lovely experience. I hope you really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Now, I've prepared this dish, which I hope will smell of the Caribbean, the dishes that your mum talked about, perhaps she didn't cook. And because she's a vegetarian, I've done a little vegetable stew over here. So I've got green peppers, tomatoes, onions, but I've also done, and this will be a real test with this, these hopefully are going to become fried dumplings with a Caribbean recipe that I sought. So we'll just put those, let's see if we can get these just...
Oh, you're making little tiny ones. How cute.
Yeah, well, you're tiny and you're cute, so it's just really
all the right things. They look fantastic to me.
And it's all good fun, is doing these. Just have to be careful, of course, it's hot fat. Keep our eye on those. So whilst that's happening, just this parsley, just got to be chop it at the last minute so that you get those lovely colours staying there, get the lovely flavours.
I love watching a chef work.
Yeah, so do I.
I can do that. It takes me about 3 days.
Right, I think we're just about ready there. So I'm just going to take those out, just put those there to drain. They're nice and light, I have to say. They're lighter than I thought they would be. I'm going to take the chopped parsley, I'm going to put it into my stew.
Yeah.
And it goes over there. Give us a spoon. So look, I'll just stir that in there. So there's all those lovely vegetables.
It looks lovely.
So look, so that goes in the middle of the plate. So then I've made a sauce here. But normally with electricity, I'd blitz this, it'd be a bit finer. But actually, it's chopped nice and fine. So we just put that to it's red peppers. There's sherry in there.
Great. You're a very brave man leaving this food so close to me.
It's all right, dear, I've got you under control. And nice little dumplings. I'm just going to pile them on top.
So gorgeous.
And just got my little bit of... I hope this will be a nostalgic return to the Caribbean for you.
This is a dish I'm hoping is packed full of memories for Diane, inspired by the stories of the food of her childhood. It's a colourful, spicy vegetable stew topped with dumplings that should remind her of the ones that her mum used to make.
I'm going to try these dumplings first, but do you know, I am actually going to try a little bit of everything because I can't wait.
Good girl. I'm not sure I like that laugh.
I was always told not to speak with my mouth full.
It's not funny, you got bags of space in there.
Yeah, but if I wasn't married, you'd be my husband. Yeah. This is gorgeous. This is absolutely gorgeous.
It may not be 100% Caribbean, but does it have certain nostalgic thoughts of the Caribbean?
Well, the dumplings, they look a bit like a fritter.
Mm-hmm.
And then I love the lightness of them. It's just nice, because it reminds me of my mum's cooking, but it's advanced a little bit.
Oh, so sweet.
No, it's true. And I think that's what all good cooking should be like, shouldn't it?
Evolution, you're quite right, huh?
Mm. I'd like to share it with you, but I'm not going to. It's gorgeous.
I'm really glad to have been able to cook a taste of the Caribbean for Diane and bring back some happy memories of her mum's home cooking. But imagine if you moved to a place where you couldn't buy any British basics like potatoes, carrots or onions, those wonderful root vegetables. You'd soon miss them and familiar recipes. Diane's beloved father lived in the family home until his death in 2011. This is the first time Diane's been back since.
There it is. How do you feel?
Now,
Speechless.
no, this is just probably the hardest one, really, because
That was your home. That was the place you
Yeah.
came to from Hackney.
yeah, it's so weird because we essentially lived here all our lives. This was the family home. It looks so different. It's grey.
Was it a different colour before?
It was white, and the windows were different. But it feels absolutely weird to be standing here and not just walking in the side door. I just used to come and let myself in. And now I'm standing here and it's a grey house, you know, it's a white house. I know it sounds silly, but I believe it's a young family who've just moved in. We were really young when we moved there.
Right.
And this house, believe it or not, was a blessing to us.
Sure.
It wasn't just the house. The whole neighbourhood has left its mark.
It was more magical when we first moved. Obviously, everything was brand new.
Yeah.
There were never cars. There's cars all the way.
It's very busy now.
Yeah, I've got photos of when we used to play out the front here, and maximum 2 cars you'd see along this road. So it was really safe to play out here. And we used to play literally on this green. We used to play rounders. And we used to have such fun.
Did you get a sense of community after a while?
Definitely. Everybody knew everybody. I think a lot of that, what happens to you as a young person, so is about the person you become as an adult. And the house has changed a lot. But this area and that house, I'd say it saved our lives.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cook a dish now just for you. I really hope you enjoy it. But in the meantime, why don't you just have a walk around the area, see who you can see and what you can see.
OK, I'm looking forward to that food already.
My tribute dish for Diane is inspired by what I found out about her today. It's going to be vegetarian, it's going to incorporate the ingredients I picked up on David's farm, and it's going to have my own Caribbean twist. To start with, I'm going to need a halved butternut squash.
Don't throw the seeds away, we can use those. Lovely, OK, so put those into a bowl here. We'll treat those later, but look at those lovely pumpkin seeds. So, salt and pepper. Nice gentle flavour of butternut squash. You want to give them some flavour. So I've got this thyme over here. So we're just going to sprinkle that over the top, give it a real bit of flavour, and then a bit of rapeseed oil. And we just put those to roast in the oven, 180 degrees, 200 degrees, probably take about 20 minutes, half an hour. They don't need to be fully cooked, but almost.
While the squash is cooking, Diane's exploring some of her old haunts.
So we came to Hatfield not too long after this new development had been established. And there was a real sense of excitement and there was a real pride in being part of this new community. And if you notice, the church over there, it's in the shape of a sail. In those days, everybody went to church. And so they wanted to sort of declare that as the centre of community. And they created, if I've got this right, but they purposely created it in a sort of ship's sail shape to sort of give it a sense of adventure and exploring the new.
When they were built, the new towns were designed to be family-friendly with facilities for everyone.
What used to happen was that, you know, the mums would take their kids to school in the pushchairs and prams. There were nobody drove to school in those days. And then they'd come up here to get the food shopping for the day. And I think the laundrette was always there, but the charity shop was the greengrocers. There's a taxi shop, and that used to be where that was a cake shop. So I used to get ice buns there as well.
We may have started the day with an iced bun, but we're going to finish with something savoury and spicy. I've already got a butternut squash roasting in the oven. Once it's cooked, I'm going to stuff it with a mix of rice and kidney beans. This is a staple dish in the Caribbean where it's known as rice and peas.
Put some oil in there too. Start to heat up.
First, I'll need half an onion and a diced courgette. I'm going to add one of the new ingredients I've just discovered, white maize.
Nice and chewy, not as sweet as sweet corn, but actually works well. So I'm going to put that in there. Oopsie daisy. Like popcorn, it started jumping out then.
Next, a can of tomatoes.
Tin tomatoes work well on lots of these stews and sauces and helps it to cook. And finally, I'm going to put some okra in there. I know it's very much loved in the Caribbean. I'm going to put it in there and then keep the little bits. And put that in there. A bit of salt and pepper.
And now I'm going to add my rice and peas.
But that's looking quite good, is that?
Diane's bumped into an old friend of the family. It's Jenny.
Do you remember, I don't know if you remember, but when we were young, all the kids, we used to come and play rounders on this bit of green.
We're still getting that.
Oh, kids still doing it?
Yeah, it's football now, you
See,
know.
rounders was better. Do you think it's changed around here quite a lot?
Oh, yes. You know, I don't go out awful lot now.
Yeah.
But
Takes a
no,
while.
on the whole, it's not bad.
You know, in the olden days, though, we never had all these cars down here, did we? So it was like, it was safe to play out here.
It was,
Yeah,
it
so
was,
different.
Now the butternut squash is tender, I'm going to stuff it with my rice and peas mixture.
And the nice thing about this, there's plenty of it, so you can actually serve some separate if you like, but just to make it, I think this looks really pretty and it's really tasty, is this. Let's put that in the oven now again, just to finish cooking the squash, but also to just keep sure that the filling is nice and cooked through, bags of flavour in there.
Well, this old tree really brings back very special memories. When I was younger, at one stage there were 4 children in our little house, and Mum and Dad and obviously all our friends used to pop in and out, so it was quite a busy house at times. And so I used to just always look for those little nooks and crannies where I could just pull myself away and just have some me time. And this place here under the willow tree was only about 50 yards away from the house. So quite often I'd just nip out with jam sandwiches and my book to read, or sometimes some sketching. And I'd literally just sit here on a day just like this with the sun just pouring through the leaves and feel so contented.
While Diane's reflecting on her memories, back in the kitchen, I've been inspired by stories of her childhood to create a special dish that I hope she's going to love. So far, I've roasted a halved butternut squash, and I've stuffed it with my version of rice and peas, packed full of delicious veggies like white maize, okra and tomatoes. I do hope Diane approves of my twist on her food heritage.
Hello, my darling.
Hello, sweetheart. How was it?
I've had a great look around.
Really?
So much has changed, it's weird. And now I've built up an appetite. So what have you got for me?
Fantastic. Well, what I've managed to find is some kale which is sort of Caribbean style of kale.
Okay.
Unlike the kale that we have here, the curly kale.
I love curly kale.
Lovely. Okay, so this is, and what we've done with this is we've taken the stalks out
Yeah.
of this, rolled it up like a cigar,
Oh, wow.
cut into thin slices,
Yeah.
put it into boiling water, and then take it out in cold water. It's there.
Can I taste?
You can, but it's not ready yet because I'm going to finish it up. That's the first bit of the job that you need to do. And I'm going to serve the kale with
love
whatever
kale.
I've got in here. Salt and pepper in there, and I've also got somewhere a bit of nutmeg
Oh, gorgeous.
that I think just actually works
Yeah.
nicely. So we'll just leave that to heat up.
I've also made a green banana salad. I boiled them in their skins for 20 minutes, then peeled and chopped them into chunks. I added lime juice, the crunch of grated cucumber and onion, and a little fresh chilli.
And so now is the time to reveal what I've actually cooked for you. We're going to put all this lot
Fantastic.
together.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Come out that me neither.
Oh, that looks nice.
Butternut squash, roasted and stuffed with rice and beans, okra, a courgette.
So the rice and beans is sort of like it's based on the rice and peas type of...
Based on that kind
Yeah.
of dish there. Yes, yeah, that's
because
absolutely right, yeah.
I mean, it's so funny. I used to say to my mum, you use kidney beans, you use, all sorts of different beans, but you call them peas. Why? And
Yeah.
she said, don't ask me any silly questions.
Well, exactly, and I totally agree with your mother. The kale goes on. It's really not just tasty, but it's healthy as this
Yeah, I
kale.
love kale.
And I just think the colour
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
is lovely. So I'm going to take... That goes on there, like
That looks nice.
And then I've just got this added extra. Whatever you do, don't spill them on the floor. These are the actual seeds
Oh, yeah.
that I've just roasted.
Wow, I would have thrown those away.
Well, that most people would do, but actually they're very good for you. They're very tasty. They've got a really nice crunch to them. Just put some salt on there.
Right, okay.
Just
wow,
sprinkle
I
that
love that idea.
like that.
Now, that's my hot tip for the day.
Well, there you
Because
go,
you normally
see.
just waste it. There's nothing to be
And
wasted.
then that goes on there.
Great.
Just a little bit to make it look pretty.
Et voila! My tribute dish for Diane is butternut squash served on kale, stuffed with my twist on rice and peas, and I'm serving it with a green banana salad. I do hope Diane enjoys my version of Caribbean flavours.
So can I delve in?
Please, yes, yes. Over here first.
Okay.
I want to know how you think of this.
Let me just try the rice. Oh, this is flavoursome.
That butternut squash. Roasting it just makes it so much more flavour, I think. I'm not a Caribbean cook. I don't really know much about Caribbean cookery, but I've listened to different people. I've read cookery books. I've listened to what you've had to say, and so it's inspired by the Caribbean. If you
love
close
that.
your eyes when you're eating this, I can see long white beaches,
deep
turquoise
blue sea.
blue skies, deep blue. Oh my goodness me!
Should we go
we
now?
should-
Take
yes,
our
here we
food
go.
and let's
Yeah,
get our
go on.
passports. This is so delicious.
Have you had a good day today?
I've had a great day. This is where I grew up. This is the place that formed me. So it's so special coming back to do that. I can't express how much I love eating. And to have someone of your calibre cooking me such beautiful food all day, like I've gone to heaven and died.
You're
Thank you.
very kind. I'm
Seriously.
glad you've enjoyed it.
I've loved it. I've loved it. Thank you so much. You're an absolute star. Thank you. I would like to talk more, but I'm busy.
Indeed, yes, yes.
Let's do it again.
Later, Tony Blackburn gets nostalgic with My Life on a Plate on BBC One at 3:45. Next here on BBC Two, more contestants get ready to push themselves to the edge.